Namaste, welcome, Rev Max.
Namaste.
Look at this, we're inside the sanctuary, folks. We're inside the sanctuary, yes we are. We're getting ready to start a sacred celebration of spirit very, very soon.
You want me logged in as me, right? As Sourcephone, okay.
And then you can tell me, we could see, Rev Mary is going to log in right now so she can see how we're looking. See how we're looking on this.
Okay, I'm trying to find this. I'm already in Garden, but how do I make it too? 4. Oh, great. Okay.
I have my surgery on that day.
On that day, yeah.
So how's that looking? All right, here we go. Yes, indeed.
You will.
You going to pray?
Yeah, we're after we get hooked up.
All right.
Right, you're like trapped.
Hey. Hello, everybody. Can you tell me when it's
Okay, well, it needs to go more towards there. That's better, right there.
Lovely.
Where?
Right there. So then it gets all out. So you guys from the cabinet all the way over
I
there.
don't want to see in my head.
That way, with your head right here.
How about now?
You're seeing me, but you're not seeing your head, but I'm scared. You see me?
Okay, wait, it's moving now.
Okay. Well, that's because that's
They're
how I'm
good?
holding it up. Hold on. Nope, that's not what it is. You see, I'm holding it straight. We got to swing it. I don't think I got the leg. We got the leg.
Hey, quiet.
See, there's that's it. You're good, right?
Oh no.
Here, let's do that. Right?
I got it.
How are you? Good to see you.
Well, congratulations again.
I know. It's
Go
hard,
play,
right?
go play, go.
I know.
I'm so itchy.
Well, I realized I couldn't. I was just saying that.
Namaste, welcome everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the reopening of the Inner Sanctuary at the Darshan Center for Spiritual Evolution. And we have a beautiful call to worship planned for you. And I hope everyone has a rattle. Yes, everyone has rattles. And grab a rattle, make sure you have one. And listen to the beat. We're gonna do the beat a couple of times till we get the rattles in the right vibration. Ready? Every tribe, every tongue, recognize that we are one. End of sorrow, end of pain, come and praise Creator's name. Whoa, oh, 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 to the land of war, every isle and distant shore, all God's people say aho, raise and shout, we are home. Whoa,
Our call to worship reminds us why we are here tonight, to celebrate, explore, and develop an interfaith experience and join together in sacred celebration of spirit. We welcome you to the Darshan Center for Spiritual Evolution, where our vision is attuned to a higher awareness of oneness. This house of worship is an interfaith and interfaith sacred space for all people to heal, grow, learn, and develop a spiritual consciousness that celebrates the manifestation of the divine in all things.
And this spiritual community is one of interfaith exploration that embraces all faiths that are affirming and positive, adhering to the highest spiritual goal of be good and do good. The major tenet of this spiritual community is that there is one infinite, all-powerful, all-knowing, ever-present divine source that moves in and around all that is seen and unseen.
We affirm that this divine source is called by many names and is beyond name and form, and recognize that while there are many paths that lead to enlightenment, each person is on their own personal journey toward the awareness and understanding of the divine.
And we believe that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and that we are spiritually evolving in this lifetime. We declare that enlightenment is possible in the here and now, and that this enlightenment can offer us joy everlasting. We know that living in the present moment and recognizing the true I am, which is our divine nature, is where enlightenment lies.
We hope you experience darshan, which is a Sanskrit term for visit with the divine, as a result of this sacred celebration that has been designed for you tonight. We are the guardians of the Darshan Center, and we are so pleased to have you here in Satsanga with us. Please join us now as we celebrate spirit with song.
Gold days, good times I remember, fun days, filled with simple pleasures, driving movies, comic books and blue jeans, howdy doody, a world gone away. All these memories seem like yesterday. Old days, good times I remember. Gold days, days I'll always treasure. Funny faces, full of love and laughter. Funny places, summer nights and streetcars take me back to a world gone away. All these memories seem like yesterday. Oh, on my mind and in my heart to stay. On my mind and in my heart to stay. Oh, days. So pray with me. Let's take a deep breath in, breathing in the beautiful medicine of the music, the beautiful medicine of this sacred space. Breathing in the beautiful medicine of us gathering together in satsanga. And we call out, Creator, Great Spirit, you who are as expansive as the cosmos and yet as personal as our heartbeat. Thank you, thank you, thank you that we made it to the good old days, back to the good old days, being together again in this beautiful sacred temple. Thank you, God, that we never stopped. Not for one Sunday, not one Sunday, God. We continued every single week to be together in one way or another, virtually or outside or now back inside the sanctuary. So God, we're just so grateful that we've kept these doors open and that we can come together again as a spiritual family. And with gratitude in our hearts, we say, Aho, Amen, Ashe. So it is. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
We have a reading from the Jewish scripture. How I long for the months gone by, for the days when I felt I was watched over and protected, when light shone on my head, and by this light I walked through darkness. Oh, for the days when I was in my prime, when God's intimate friendship blessed my house, when the Almighty was still with me, and my children were around me.
Love is the way, love is the light. We light up today, and today is alright. Love is the way, love will take us higher. We are aligned, and we are united.
Differences, our different kind of interests, our different intelligence. artificial and natural mystics, each one a crystalist of perfect imperfection. Yeah, we are limitless, cause spirit lives inside us. Mother Nature did us a favor, giving each one of us a different flavor, different vision, different faces, different incarnations. Some make us hear noise, some want to hear the silence, some want to drive the bus from town to town and give high fives out to teachers and bakers and movie ticket takers, to midwives and doctors and magic baby makers. Cause love is what you're working on and peace is what you're dreaming. If you're fighting for freedom, we are my people. You're my kind, you're my kind, you're my kind. Humankind, you're my kind, you're my kind, you're my kind. Humankind, I don't believe in fighting, cause we ain't got that much time. Tomorrow's ground is the foundation laid down by decisions I make today. I don't believe in war. No, I done taught to love my neighbor. I've been all around and I found us, we're all the same. Yeah, the chief of police and the dealer's the same. Neither the strongest can survive, only one who handles change. The secret to peace is to quiet the brain, letting go with all our hearts and letting love touch everything. If love is what you're working on and peace is what you're dreaming, you're combating evil. You are my people. You're my kind. You're my kind. You're my kind. Humankind. You're my kind. You're my kind. You're my kind. Humankind. Oh, 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 oh. Humankind. Oh, 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 oh. We share the same room. Your moon is my moon. We all wear wax. No one takes naps in the afternoon. Some wanna be small spoons, some wanna be big spoons. I like to rotate positions, flip it over for a different view. Some like it reggae, some like the smooth jazz, some like to slow things down, some like to shake that ass. So many different expressions to take pleasure in. You are uniquely you, just like everyone else is. Love is the way, love is the light. We line up the day, and today is alright. Love is what we're working on, and peace is what you're dreaming. We are all equal. You are my people. You're my kind. You're my kind. You're my kind. Humankind. You're my kind. You're my kind. You're my kind. Humankind. Oh, 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 humankind. Oh, 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 humankind. Oh, 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 humankind. Oh, oh.
Our second reading is from Yogapedia. What does satsanga mean? Satsanga is a Sanskrit term derived from two roots, sat meaning true and sangha meaning community, company, or association. It can be translated as associating with good people or simply being in the company of truth, and refers to the act of gathering with like-minded, uplifting people, especially those who are on a spiritual path. Satsanga may also refer to a group of people engaged in a spiritual dialogue, although the term is generally used to highlight the importance of community on spiritual growth. By definition, satsang can and additionally be considered as a lone relationship with truth.
Namaste and welcome, 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 welcome back. Welcome back. Back to the sanctuary, just like the good old days. You know, there's two important pieces of my message today. One is about being together in satsanga, which is what this is, right? Good association. And also about the good old days. So I want to start with satsanga. Satsanga is a Hindu Sanskrit term, which means literally sat, truth, and sangha, which is association, good association. And it's about associating with people who are like-minded seekers, associating with those who are about the light, not about the darkness, right? The Buddhists call it sangha, the Christians call it congregation, and in the Jewish tradition, a synagogue, actually, which is a space for worship and prayer, there's a belief that it is good to pray together, but that there has to be a minimum of 10, and that's called a minyan, right? So, not a minyan like the Minions. When I think of minions. You know, when the Master Jesus said, where 2 or 3 are gathered together, there I am in the midst of you. And in recovery, we call it fellowship. It's all the same meaning and significance. It's all about coming together to raise each other up, to raise our vibration. The reflection song that we did, you know, we got a lot of really cool music for today, and Max and I have been practicing, and it's just such a joy to be here and to be able to do that. But the reflection song was called My Kind, and that was a Jason Mraz song, and I feel like that sort of sums it all up. You're my kind. 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 What does that even mean? Wow, it means, here's my question. What if you're not my kind? What if you're not my kind? You know, some of us are related by blood, and some of us are related by the soul. All of us are related by the soul. And in the African spirituality and African tradition, it's called Egbe. So, like, it's powerful to have your blood relatives that are here, right? That you love and that you care about and you get along with and all of that. You know, that's good. But that's on a cellular level. But on a cellular level, there's spiritual DNA. And that in the African spirituality is called Egbe. Like egg. Like an egg. Like an egg. Egbe. And you're my Egbe. You're my kind. You're my Egbe. You know, we've definitely, we're not related by blood. None of us except for 2 in the room that are related by blood. I couldn't be, right? Right? My sibling there, Christine, and my mother is right there. So we're related by blood. And that's, you know, on the DNA, so, you know, cellular level, right? But what about the love that I have for Chris? What about that love? Now that's not on a cellular level, but it's on a cellular level, right? And we're kind of like my kind, like-minded. You know, when I first met Chris, I was a cop. I was actually a lieutenant at the time when I first met Chris, and I was in love. I fell madly in love with Chris when I first laid eyes on her. And I asked her out, and she said no. And one of her biggest reasons, there was a couple of reasons, but one of them was that I was a cop. And, you know, she was like, you know, you're a cop, and, you know, and I smoke pot, and, you know, and then I got arrested for protesting, and, you know, but you know what? Wow. And then at our wedding, which was something like that, years ago in Pennsylvania, in front of 85 witnesses. Half of them were cops, and the other half were hippies. And the half that were cops were like saying to me, "Are you sure you're doing the right thing? Are you sure you're doing the right thing?" And I'm sure that all of the hippies were saying, "Are you sure you're doing the right thing? She's a lieutenant, and, you know, the NYPD and all of that." So, but I know that Chris is in my Egbe. Like, Chris is part of my Egbe. Chris is part of my cellular family. And actually, we've come a little closer together in terms of, you know, we're not polar extremes anymore.
We're really not. Chris has taught me so much, and I think I taught her too, especially about, the police and not demonizing them and all that. I hope. This last year has isolated us. We've been isolated. We've been away from each other. We haven't been next to each other. We haven't been in the same room with each other, unless you're in the same pod. That's why Chris made up that pods of familiars. Sit here, please. Which means if you're in the pod, your family pod or circle of friends pod or whatever, then you can sit all together, I think, on the couch. But it's been a rough year, hasn't it? It's just really been hard, and it's been. We felt so separated, and we felt so not connected and disconnected. And we tried our best throughout the year of the pandemic by being on Zoom in the beginning, and we tried as best we could through, social media. Thank God for social media that we were able to still connect in some way. But it wasn't the same, am I right? There was something that was missing. And what was missing was us being together. Just like the good old days. And I told Max before services, this is the happiest I felt. This is the less stress, the least amount of stress that I have felt. It's a lot to come hours before, set up outside, the technology, being far away from the Wi-Fi. All of that stuff is it's all Maya. It's all an illusion. But it just feels so good to be back together again. Like the good old days. And when I think about the good old days also, I pop into it to get this memory of when I was 7. I was 7 years old, and Pancakes and Johnny Mathis records. My father would make pancakes on a Saturday, or French toast, and he put on Johnny Mathis would be, in the background, or Nat King Cole, or one of his other favorites. And I could almost smell the pancakes right now, honestly. I could see what my father was wearing, I could remember Christmas Eve nights being so excited and sleeping over my grandmother's house and just couldn't wait for the morning to come for Christmas to open up the presents and Thanksgiving days and all of that growing up. The love, the laughter, the food, we're Italian, so it was always about the food. And we must hear this refrain, the good old days, a lot, especially from our elders, the good old days, the times when kids would actually play outside, and when kids would actually interact and talk to you, and when we would interact and talk, and we would not just be on the phone, but we would make a date to be in person with each other. Now it's emojis, right? That's how we dialogue with each other. And sometimes we even will respond to a text with a little thumbs up. How lazy can we be? How lazy, right? The good old days when young children were respectful and looked forward to being with their grandparents. Boy, what I wouldn't give to see my grandparents or my great-grandparents again. What I wouldn't give to have one more day with them. What about a time when political affiliation wasn't like an enemy thing, wasn't like a demon thing? They're from the party. They're from the party. Or whatever it is. We've even made masks political now, and we've demonized each other. What happened to the good old days? The good old days when we cared about the planet. The good old days like in the Native Americans' time and period and era before the colonialists came in and stole the land and killed them and imprisoned them and all of that. What about those good old days when they would go out and hunt, and then they would have a prayer, and they would thank this buffalo, and the buffalo would feed the whole tribe? The good old days. They cared about the planet. They cared about each other. But I can lament on this. I can lament on the good old days. I can lament on the days of the past. I can even start thinking of the past and thinking of injury and thinking of resentment. And I can start thinking of the future and thinking about the fear and the worry and all of that stuff. And the bottom line is that, the real answer to the good old days is now. This is the good old days. This moment. Right now, right here, right now. This is the day that Divine Spirit has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. And just like the Jewish scripture that we heard today, where Sister Chris read about Job, oh my God, when you start thinking about, you know, Sister Chris is struggling. She's struggling a lot, you know, these days, physically. And we lament and think about the good old days, and geez, when we would just like walk in Easterlin and just Easterlin Park and just like that little mile that we would do with Shanti. Like, we can't do that now. Like right now, we can't do that right now. So I lament on the good old days. Oh, I wish that, you know, and I'm just like Job. I'm thinking, God, when are we going to ever please stop with all of the suffering, with all this pain? Bring back the good old days, please. But then when I go deeper, and I go mystically, and I go into that spiritual significance, I recognize that, guess what? The reality is that God is ever present in this day. And in God, and in the divine, and in spirit, there is no time and space. God always has been, always will be. And so when I think of that, and I also think about, crap, I'm lamenting on the good old days. Well, which lifetime am I talking about? Because I believe in reincarnation. I don't know about anybody else, but I do. And so, which embodiment am I interested in going back to? Which good old days would I like to return to? The time when I was a bird and I used to fly with my nice feathers. And you know, there's a beautiful Hindu scripture that we find in Yoga Vasishta, and it's the story of Leela. And Leela's crying because her husband has died, and she's wailing and she's praying out and screaming out to God. And so Goddess Saraswati comes and says, "Oh, Leela, what's wrong?" And she says, my husband, I miss him. I miss the good old days. And Saraswati says, well, which husband are you talking about? Let me take you. It's almost like, it's like a very Hindu, oh God, what is the name of it with Christmas Past? The Christmas Carol. It's like the Hindu version of a Christmas Carol, because Leela Saraswati takes Leela to the corner of the room, and in the corner of the room, she says, I want you to look, I'm going to show you all of your lives and all of your embodiments. And I'm going to show you how many husbands you've had and how many wives you've had. I'm going to show you all of this stuff that you call the good old days, but guess what, Leela? It's all Maya. And the only thing that's real is the now moment. All we have is right here, right now. So the good old days are here, and we're reminded to surround ourselves with good association. And I have to tell you, people of like mind, you have to have a lot of courage to stand up and only allow purity into your temple. If our lives are a temple, and I want you to think of this sacred space as an example, we would not allow, in fact, we cleaned in here, I don't know if you noticed, well, you probably don't notice because you haven't been here, but we cleaned a lot in here. We cleaned, we polished, we dusted, we vacuumed, everything. It's clean as a whistle. But we wouldn't want any dirt to come in, right? We wouldn't want that. This is a temple. This is a sacred space. So is my life. So is my circle of friends. So is my circle of trust. The people that I want to associate with. I don't want anybody polluting my puja. There's another Hindu story. I won't go in there. But how blessed are we that we could stand in our conviction and in our truth. Sat Sangha. Sat means truth. So I can stand in the conviction of what I know to be true with like-minded people. Living in the present moment. How blessed are we to be back together again, just like the good old days. Namaste. So we have plenty of time. We're gonna have a spiritual dialogue with first the clergy and then with you, if you want to join in and share with anything on the message of satsanga, back together again like the good old days, whatever you want. Chris?
Well, thank you, and thank you for the message, which is so rich and such a great thing to think about, that these are the good old days. That this right here is the good old days. Even though these might be difficult days, they can be the good old days. And I was thinking about how I try to be careful not to, not to wish time away. Like, oh, I can't wait till my body's back, until I have these, I can't wait. Because the fact is that, one of the gifts is that I have to sit still I sit still a lot. And I see more nature in my backyard because I'm so still that they come and visit, you know what I mean? And it's like then I realize that I'm sitting there, so the bird will be coming very close, and so will all the squirrels. And I want to cherish those kind of moments. I want to cherish the fact that I don't have to move if I don't want to, because I can't. But the point is not wishing them, not like always focusing on the present or the past. And we can really romanticize the past. A lot of times we romanticize the past because, for many different reasons, but the more distance we have from it, it can look really different. Either way, but I love the message, and these are the good old days, and it is about making each day a gift and recognizing each day as a gift and each lesson as a gift. And I really like the reminder that these are the good old days, and then that these are the good old days of the Darshan spiritual family, and that someday we may be looking back and going, wow, the 2020, when we were with the Darshan family through the pandemic, what an experience that was. And there may be some nostalgia there. Anyway, I love you all so much, and I love the message, and this is good old days.
I also love this message. It brought me back to when I was really young. During the holidays, I had a lot of aunts and uncles, but they were my great aunts and uncles. They were actually my mother's aunts and uncles. And I used to say to them, tell me about the olden days. And I didn't realize that the olden days were going to catch up to me. Today I had class for the first time for my summer class, and I looked around Zoom, because it's a remote class, and I saw all these faces. And they were like wanting to know my experience. They wanted others teaching them. And so I said, oh yeah, I've been doing this since 1981. And I saw one of them gasp, and I said, I got it. I'm older than dirt. I get it, right? I have young ones who look to me and go, tell me about the olden days. And they're talking about the days when I didn't think I was old, when I was young. So the fact is, we need to be grateful. And Sister Chris alluded to it and talked about it. I also read something this morning from Jaya Lakshmi, who's one of my favorite kirtan singers. And she talked about how the pandemic gave her lots of time to think and lots of time to look at her life. And during that time, during this pandemic, she actually split with her partner, Yoganandaji. And instead of looking at it as a time of sorrow, she looked at it from a time of gratitude, that she had had 10 years with him, and that those 10 years were marvelous, but it brought her to this moment, and how she's looking forward to going from this moment forward. And we can always choose which wolf we feed. And you guys know the wolf story, the Native American story where the little boy says to his grandfather, I have this conflict in me. And he says, yeah, you got the good wolf, the white wolf, and the black wolf, the bad wolf. And they're fighting. They're fighting for control. And the little boy says, well, which one's going to win, Grandpa? And the grandpa says, whichever one you feed. So I am trying very, very hard to feed the white wolf. I hope you guys are feeding the white wolf, and that we are grateful for this day, this time, right here, right now.
Great message, great shares. I am taken back to a memory of when I was younger and just being a kid. It was a holiday. My parents were around, their parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles. And they were talking to us, my parents, about the good old days. And then the grandparents are talking to them. Oh no, those aren't the good old days. These were the good old days. And it's so funny to me is how each generation thinks that they were in the good old days. You know, it's all about perception. It's really all about how you take it. You know, and I love that Sister Christian talked about romanticizing. Because really, that's what it is. Romanticizing a period of time. And, you know, it's like Facebook. You know, people don't want to put the bad stuff on Facebook. They want to put the nice, pretty stuff on Facebook. You know, it's what you choose to remember or what you choose to hang on to. Which, in my opinion, can get us a little messed up sometimes. You ever gotten back together with an ex? Yeah, it just feels like they weren't so good old days. You sooner find out. So I love this idea that every day is the good old days. And I love the idea that the good old days are even yet to come. Just about how we perceive it. Thank you.
Yeah, anyone want to share? Anybody want to share? Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, the Action Center, for receiving us. You know, I really couldn't wait to be here. I am a people person, you know, even though I need to be here. And thank you for your effort to keep us together during all this time that was longer than a year. You know, we did the Zoom, sometimes I was there. I'm not consistent with that kind of thing. But sometimes I was there when we were here too, you know, and the parking. So thank you for that effort. That helped us a lot. And then about the good days or no good days, sometimes I think that, you know, I never have said that, oh, what a bad day, I was fired, or my car was broken. It's just that things happen to me and I have to solve them. That's it. You know, I keep moving to the front. And I think that it's good to be in the present. And today that I was, you know, I was like, oh my God, why am I so, and I wanted to pray, but I was like, when am I going to pray? I'm good. I don't know. It's like, it was weird the way that I felt, because it was like, oh, I'm not praying for the future. I'm not praying for someone in my condition. I was okay with maybe with the present. And then so I took my Lalabis, and then I started saying, what I say is, Holy Spirit, you are my source. And then, and I did like 2 rounds of the whole thing. Yes. And then here I am. Thank you.
All right, ladies, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's lovely to see you here with us. Yes. And I second that. You know, we all are so grateful to you for everything that all of you did to create and maintain this spiritual community in every way that you did it. In the rain, when the Wi-Fi wasn't working, you know, so many times. Even I remember a Kier time when we had to go 2 or 3 different places and trying to get the microphones to work and everything else. And it was always our spiritual home wherever you were. And I love sending, you know, sharing the YouTubes of what, you know, what we've done. And it's nice that we can reach farther out into the world, you know, and do that. I want to just tell a little quick story too. When you were talking about Minyan, you know, I've mentioned that my mother would have been a rabbi if she had been born in a different time. And one of the things that she always told us was, in the Jewish faith, not only do you need 10 people to get together, they have to be men. And my mother wanted to say Yisro, which is the prayer for the dead, for her father who had passed away. And she went to a conservative temple, and she was very well equipped. She knew all the prayers. And she tried to go in, and they wouldn't even let her in. And they wouldn't consider her one of the 10. Because she said at that moment, this isn't going to work for me, I'm not going to do it. And she went all the way across town to a Reformed synagogue. And that was the Reformed synagogue, Temple Bethel, which became her spiritual home. And she was there for 50 years. And she taught Torah there, and she read from the Torah there, and she taught bar and bat mitzvah classes. And it was like so beautiful, that circumstance of the very, very most, kind of conservative and orthodox setting those boundaries about what a community or what a minyan could be until she went and found her own. So I'm very grateful that my mother found her own minyan in a Reform synagogue. And I'm very grateful to all of you for us having our minyan here.
Yes, thank you. And right here, right now, it doesn't matter what our gender is or what our ethnicity is or any of that. We're all one. We're part of the Egg Bay. So we have time for two more, and then we have the ritual.
During the COVID, of course, we all spent a lot of time by ourselves. And I painted, I drew, I sang, I did anything to keep busy. But I reflected a lot, and I knew that I wanted to come out stronger and better for feeling the pain. And I chose a job when I came out that I'm all by myself in a barbershop. And I chose to be by myself. And I function better by myself. Well, the other day, I started to say, well, maybe I'll join them a little bit. And I got stuck. I highlighted the owner's hair, figuring if I do a beautiful job on him, I'll get business, they'll like me. Did it. From 4 o'clock to 7:30 at night, we had Chinese food, and then I went home, and I couldn't wait to come back and get maybe the applause and feel good. I came back. One of the barbers said, colored it back. He said, making a beautiful painting. And I was so comfortable. I'm going to make this fast. I was so comfortable with my anger from suffering with COVID. I always, either went too angry, the right degree. I had the right degree of that. I can't believe what you did. Expressed it. And then I realized I didn't want to be like my mother. I didn't want to go on and on. I said, at least you could have called me. If you didn't like it, tell me. I'll go over it. My wife didn't like it. Okay, that makes sense. If your wife didn't like it, but you should have called me. And then at the end, I started thinking about it, and the manicurist let me color it back. It's like painting my artwork. And then I realized, you know what? Let me get back to me again. Let me get back to when we were causing me alone, and that's it. Let it go.
This is kind of a mix of what both of you said about not looking back on the good old days, and you saying, getting back to you. When I was alone during COVID a lot, I would just think about myself, which I'm sure many of us did. Most, not all. You didn't think, I'm concerned. But I kind of realized that the more I look back on my childhood days, when my parents and I were more active, and we'd go out and we'd travel and we'd do all these amazing things, go to all these theme parks and stuff, it made me just sad. Because I was like, oh, things have changed so much. I have to be an adult now. My parents don't pay as much attention to me as they used to. Because they're old, aging, they need to focus on themselves. I mentioned that. But it just made me sad. And I realized, made me realize that maybe it's not so good to focus on the good old days, and I need to focus on what I'm doing now. And it can vary from this hour to this day to this week to this month. But I kind of realized that I need to focus on who I am and who I want to be within the next short period of time in order to keep myself from going down a negative spiral. So what you said about the good old days kind of reminded me of that. So yeah, it would be better to not think about it so much. And then it's too bad. Okay.
Sister Chris is going to lead us in just a very quick kind of centering. Reverend Max has to go to music.
Okay, so I invite you to get comfortable in your seat. And align your spine in a comfortable way, and if you're comfortable closing your eyes, you can close them, or you can focus on the spot on the floor in front of you. And begin to breathe, relaxing breaths. Breathing in serenity and peace. Breathing out any tension. Breathing in relaxation. And breathing out all stress. And we center ourselves and go to that safe space deep within. And in this space, we remember a time that we consider the good old days. Think of the time that you consider the good old days. See that memory clearly and bring the emotion up. Bring the emotion up that you felt then to the surface. And see in your mind's eye the memory of that good time. Who's around you? How old are you? Really allow yourself to feel the energy of that time, the joy, the laughter. Hold on to this energy. And take this essence of that and recognize this is an eternal energy that always lives in you. That energy of love, laughter, innocence, connection, that sense of belonging is always accessible to you. Breathe into this awareness that this energy of the past memories of good old times is always accessible. Take a couple of deep breaths, and when you are ready, you can come back to the present moment and open your eyes. And Rev G will be coming around with a token reminding you of the love that you have right here and right now with this spiritual family.
If I get lost, I need to return to that one.
Yes. That's right. If anyone is lost, you get returned to the Darshan Center immediately. And, you always have a home, and that's why you have your keychain, right? You have
This is your home. So, we talk about the year that has just transpired, and I just want to remind everyone that when we first moved into the new space, we took a leap of faith. And that leap of faith involved a much higher rent for a much bigger space and a much longer lease. So we signed a 5-year lease, and that was in December. In March, the pandemic happened. And I really got into a place of fear, thinking that we wouldn't make ends meet, that we'd have to break the lease. What would we do? How in the world could we increase our membership and still make the rent while the pandemic is happening? But you know what? It just you did it. Like you did it. You continued to generously contribute in so many different ways. PayPal.me/Darshan Center or Venmo at Darshan Center 840 or Cash App $ Darshan Center 840 or cash or checks. You just did it, and you continued to do it, and you continue to do it, and it's the only reason that we're still here. So thank you for being a messenger of God, speaking through you, and letting us know that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and that we're supposed to be here. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good in everyone. People done gone crazy. People done gone mad. People done forgot the superpowers we all have. We were born to love, not hate. We can decide our fate. Look for the good in everyone. Celebrate all our mistakes. There's a silver lining. We still have to find it, find it, find it. Look for the good in everything. Look for the people who will set your soul free. It always seems impossible until it's done. Look for the good. Look for the good. Look for the good in everyone. All right. Announcements. We got some announcements. Not that many. We're here in the inner sanctuary. That's an announcement. Woo! And what else, Rev Mary?
Okay, so the announcements are, unfortunately, we are not going to have Kirtan in June. We are going to wait until July, and that date and time, well, it's always at 7 o'clock, but that date will be announced later on. Also, starting this Thursday night, we hope that you will come join us for a Reiki circle. We will be here in the sanctuary. It's going to be facilitated by Rev Max, and it's going to be assisted by myself and Rev Sue. So we will all be here, and we love working together. The three of us have a great energy when we work together, and so we definitely hope that you guys will come. It is a love offering, so that means come, and then just give whatever's in your heart. So we are going to do that. That's going to be at 7 p.m., and it's going to be here inside the sanctuary. So we hope to see you on Thursday night.
Every Thursday.
Awesome.
like to pray.
Holy and Blessed One, we are so grateful to be home, indoors, back in our temple, back in our sanctuary, back in our sacred space. We are so blessed for the gift of each other. We are so blessed for the gift of this satsanga. We are so blessed by the spiritual family, and that we keep coming together and that we keep going. We are so grateful for the message that has come through and for the reminder that we're living the good old days. That these days, this present moment is filled with wonder. The wonder of creation and the wonder of God's love and the wonder of the miraculous infinite universe. Right now, we're living the good old days, and we are so grateful, God, for that awareness. And so we say thank you. Blessed be.
Blessed be.
Amen.
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 Ashe.
Ashe.
Shanti, shanti.
Om Shanti, 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 Shanti. And we encourage you to get up and dance. Is it flashback Friday again? Actually, I can't remember when or where the heck I am, but I'm doing the best I can. It's been a hazy afternoon, like the days we playing tunes, the kind that lift and shift my mood to an attitude of gratitude. Today feels like the classic, love your life as you imagine. Maybe nothing special happened, but every moment's made of magic, because it feels like the good old days are happening right now. Feels like the good old, the good old, the good old, the good old, the good old days. It feels like the good old times are happening right now. I don't need no grave state, every moment's what we make. I'm gonna take my time and try a few paths my life can take. Every breakdown is a blessing, every love's learning me lessons. Life will always keep me guessing. Well, I can say without a question that it feels like the good old days are happening right now. Feels like the good old, the good old, the good old, the good old, the good old days. It feels like the good old times are happening right now. Feels like the good old